Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Thira Vanachari Jamuna Thira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Thira Vanachari Jamuna Thira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajakacharsha Asthothara Sita Sri Srimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajakacharsha Asthothara Sita Sri Srimad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananti Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya Shila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Sham Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Sri Navadvip Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Sri Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Sri Mathura Dham Ki Jai. Sri Dwaraka Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Yamuna Mai Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Tulasi Devi Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Gauda Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Dikshita Brahma Satrena Sarva Bhutatma Medasa Raticham Disivelayam Siddho Buddhyatra Chachali Dikshita Brahma Satrena Sarva Bhutatma Medasa Raticham Dishivelayam Siddho Bhudyatra Chachali Dikshita Brahma Satrena Sarva Bhutatma Medhasa Raticham Dishivelayam Siddho Buddhyatra Chachali. Ladies, Dikshita, being determined. Brahmasatrena, by understanding of the Supreme Spirit. Sarva, all. Bhuta, living entities. Atma Medasa, considering like oneself. Praticham, in the Western. Dishi, direction. Vilayam, on the seashore. Siddha, perfect. Abhut, became. Yatra, where. Jajali, the great sage Jajali. The Prachetas went to the seashore in the west, where the great liberated sage Jajali was residing. After perfecting this spiritual knowledge, by which one becomes equal toward all living entities, the Prachetas became perfect in Krishna consciousness. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. The word Brahmasatra means cultivation of spiritual knowledge. Actually, both the Vedas and severe austerity are known as Brahma. Vedas tattvam tapo Brahma. Brahma also means the absolute truth. One has to cultivate knowledge of the absolute truth by pursuing studies in the Vedas and undergoing severe austerities and penances. The Prachetas properly executed this function and consequently became equal to all other living entities. As Bhagavad Gita 1854 confirms, Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma na shochati na kankshati samasarveshu bhuteshu madbhaktim labhate param. One who is thus transcendentally situated at once realizes the Supreme Brahman and becomes fully joyful. He never laments nor desires to have anything. He is equally disposed to every living entity. In that state, he attains pure devotional service unto me. When one actually becomes spiritually advanced, he does not see the difference between one living entity and another. This platform is attained by determination. When perfect knowledge is expanded, one ceases to see the outward covering of the living entity. He sees, rather, the spirit soul within the body. Thus, he does not make distinctions between a human being and an animal, a learned Brahmin and a Chandala. Vidyavanaya sampane brahmani gavihastini shuni chaiva swabhake cha pandita samadarshanaha. The humble sage, by virtue of true knowledge, sees with equal vision a learned and gentle Brahman, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and a dog-eater, outcast. Bhagavad Gita 5:18. A learned person sees everyone equally on a spiritual basis. And a learned person, a devotee, wants to see everyone developed in Krishna consciousness. The place where the prachetas were residing was perfect for executing spiritual activities. For it is indicated that the great sage Jajali attained mukti, liberation, there. One desiring perfection or liberation should associate with a person who is already liberated. This is called Sadhu Sanga, associating with a perfect devotee. Om Agyantamidandasya Jnananjana Chalakaya Chakshurun Bilidam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahakana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadudam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahakana Lalita Sri Vishakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vansha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gauda Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirbhishesha Shunyavadi Astatyate Shatarine. The Prachetas went to the seashore in the west, where the great liberated sage Jajali was residing. After perfecting the spiritual knowledge by which one becomes equal toward all living entities, the Prachetas became perfect in Krishna consciousness. I am sincerely grateful to be among all of you. So many thousands of worshipable devotees gathered in one place. This is truly Sadhu Sanga. My very heartfelt gratitude to His Holiness Indrajumana Swami Maharaj and the whole team of devotees who have organized and facilitated us to come together. Sankirtan is the supreme yajna, or spiritual sacrifice, the congregational chanting of the holy names of the Lord. To bring us together with such organization, such nice prasad, to attract so many sincere devotees. I believe it takes all year of planning. So how grateful we are. And His Holiness Indrajumana Maharaj, although it takes all year to arrange for this, he is doing all over the world, same thing. In the Himalayas, in Europe, in Poland. So we are very grateful. Just this morning, I was hearing a lecture that Srila Prabhupada gave. This particular lecture is so all-encompassing and so much just awakens the essence within our hearts. I request all of you to hear this lecture carefully. It's 1972 in Vrindavan, when Srila Prabhupada was at the Radha temple. Just imagine Srila Prabhupada's feeling of compassion. For so many years, he lived at the Radha Damodar temple in Vrindavan, preparing for this, what he called an impossible mission that his Guru Maharaj had given to him. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Nityananda Prabhu, they gave us the direction to spread the glories of the holy names of Krishna, Sankirtan, in every town and village throughout the world. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur envisioned at a time when India was still under the British regime. He had a little house near the bank of the Jalangi and the Ganga. At that time, Mayapur was just some paddy fields, mostly occupied by people of another faith. And yet, it was a vision and it was a dream that sincere devotees from all parts of the world came together to chant the holy names of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. And his beloved son, the founder Acharya of all Gaudiya Mats, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, that was so much his aim. All of our acharyas, they provided transcendental literatures with a profound spiritual foundation by by which people could understand, who am I? Why am I suffering? Why everyone has to inevitably suffer? What is real happiness? Who is God? What is my relationship with God? What is the actual goal and meaning of life? In 1922, in Calcutta, upon the very first moment of their meeting, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada gave our Srila Prabhupada this instruction. You are intelligent, young man. Bring the message of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to the whole world in the English language. At that time, Srila Prabhupada was married. He just had his first child. In fact, he was very active in Mahatma Gandhi's movement, which was for liberation from subjugating foreign powers. And when he presented Sri Gandhi's argument, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he explained, the real problems of life are birth, old age, disease, and death. Whoever's in power, these are the problems that we have to suffer. The real solution is Krishna consciousness. To understand loving devotional service to Krishna, our eternal, natural, spiritual state. Cannot wait for differences and different circumstances and situations in this world. This is a very powerful statement. Individually and collectively, we have this ingrained propensities that we want to put the most essential duty of our life, Sanatana Dharma, until something else is resolved or something else is achieved. This type of spiritual procrastination, when things get better, when people get better, when my health gets better, there are limitless circumstances that material energy can put before us, either to break our faith and just think that I'm a devotee and still I'm suffering. Maybe I should try something else. Maybe I should go somewhere else. Or the world is in such a situation. When things get better, then we could do. The situation in this world are always changing. Everything is non-permanent. But the one thing that is consistent is the calling of the soul back home, back to Godhead, to Krishna. The real Anandamayo Bhyashat, pleasure that everyone is seeking. So, Srila Prabhupada's Guru Maharaj told him, now is the time. Cannot wait. This is the urgent need forever. Srila Prabhupada, in his responsibility to his Dharma as a grihasta in his occupation. He carried on, but he was always preparing for the right time. And eventually, after he retired from everything else, he came to Vrindavan, where his preparation was to give the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam to the world. Throughout the night, the early morning, throughout the day, he just had a very simple manual typewriter. He would read the verse. He would hear from all the great previous acharyas who commented on Srimad Bhagavatam. And then, through his own supremely compassionate nature, he presented the very essence to us. He put so much of his heart, so much of his soul in the very heart of Vrindavan, Shri Radha Damodar temple, where the 6 Goswamis would meet. And he sometimes said, everything you need to know for the ultimate perfection of go home back to Godhead, your eternal identity in Sri Vrindavan Dham, I've put it all in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. He had to beg. He had no money to publish books in India in those days. It was very difficult. Just to get paper was almost impossible. You had to have so many connections. And then he carried all these boxes of books on Jaladuta with him. (1922, 1965), all those years he prepared. And when most people retire in such a beautiful place in Vrindavan, simple but perfect, why would he want to risk his life and endure so much challenge? Because this is the spirit that we're reading about in this verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. For a devotee to see all living beings equally means to see the potential within the soul to be happy with Krishna. And to make that our goal. Why? Samsiddhir Haritoshanam. Because it pleases Krishna. Why did Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu come to this world? Sri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nahi Anya. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Shri Radha Govinda, having their eternal pastimes in the spiritual world of Goloka. And Advaitacharya, he is Karunadakshayi Vishnu. And our scriptures describe he is simultaneously Sadashiva, the original Shiva of the spiritual world. Vaishnavanam Yada Shambhu. Lord Shiva is the greatest devotee. Why? Because the compassion of Sri Radha Govinda manifests so much through him. In Srimad Bhagavatam, the glories of Lord Shiva are described in the context when he saw poison spreading throughout the universe. The demigods and the demons were churning ocean of milk. They were seeking nectar. But what was the first thing that emerged? The most deadly poison. It was so powerful and it was spreading so profusely that it was about to exterminate all life in the universe. When Lord Shiva saw it, he didn't decide these people should drink the poison and these people shouldn't. Equal vision. He took all that poison by his yogic mystic powers and concentrated it all so it could fit in the palm of his hand. It was like an ocean of poison condensed. How powerful that was. Now what is he going to do with it? Anywhere he puts it is going to destroy life throughout the universe. He drank it. And his throat became very dark blue. And he's Kalakanta, Nilakanta. He's glorified. It's an ornament. And in this section of Srimad Bhagavatam, it describes the greatest service one could render to the Supreme Personality of Godhead is to show compassion for all living beings. Sadashiva, Mahavishnu, who creates everything that we know. He's among great devotees like Haridas Thakur, who's Lord Brahma, Srivas Pandit, who's Narada Muni. They're having kirtans. They're happy. They were having sadhu sangas every day. But yet, it is described, Advaitacharya was crying for Radha and Krishna to descend in their original form into this material world to spread this Sankirtan movement. Srila Prabhupada would sometimes say that the purpose of all Vedas is a simple phrase: let all beings be happy. But what is actual happiness? Brahmabhuta prasanatma. The only true happiness for the soul is to be in connection with the Supreme Soul. When Krishna is pleased, that's the only thing that gives happiness to the soul. And it is the singular means by which we can make actual spiritual advancement on the path of bhakti. What will please Krishna? Advaitacharya had everything, and yet he's crying, he's fasting, he's offering oblations of Ganga water and tulsi leaves, crying for Radha and Krishna to come to this world. And so many times in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu proclaimed, the only reason I have come to this world is because Advaitacharya was crying for me. He wasn't doing it for himself. He was doing it for everyone. And it is described, Haridas Thakur, when he was living in his cave in Fuliagram, when he was chanting 300,000 names of Krishna every day, he was also praying that the Lord would appear to bestow his mercy upon everyone. Paraduka Dukhi. They were filled with the greatest happiness, tasting the sweetness of the holy names, yet they're thinking of all of us. A few days ago, we celebrated the appearance of Lord Narasimha Dev. And Prahlad Maharaj, who was glorified eternally in that pastime, he teaches his father, and in his prayers to the Lord, that unless one learns how to be equal to and kind to all living entities, one cannot achieve Krishna consciousness. And Prahlad Maharaj prayed, let the yogis and the jnanis go to Himalayas and to their sacred places to become purified in peace. But I want to be wherever the conditioned souls are suffering because they're striving to be happy without Krishna. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu descended. And actually, that's, according to Sukadev Goswami, a prime reason Krishna descended. Mother Bhumi, the personified personality of the earth. Who is she the mother of? Everyone on the earth. That means all living entities, all varieties of humans, animals, birds, reptiles, fish, insects, plants and trees. Wherever there's life, there's the presence of the eternal soul. Aham bija pratapita. And Krishna and Sri Radha are the mother and father of all living entities. Mamaivam so jiva loke. Everyone is a part of Krishna. That is true understanding of life. And to the extent we understand that we are really a part of Krishna, when we are no longer ruled over by the ahankar, the false ego, and we, Bhagavad Gita as it is, when we understand who we actually are as we are forever. The testimony, we see that that same nature of the soul, that same sacred child of God within myself is present wherever there is life. Prahlad Maharaj, he expressed his motivation to be equal to all living beings by striving and giving his existence to helping others be Krishna conscious. He described, I received this knowledge, this grace from Narada Muni. How could I ever give service to him up? And what is Narada Muni's mission? He goes everywhere. He never stops preaching. Dhruva, he was Prahlad. hunter, Valmiki, the cruel hunter, Magrari. In this particular pastime, we're reading about the king, Prachini Barhishat, who was actually lost in all kinds of karma kanda or materialistic religious ceremonies, and in the process causing harm to other living beings. Narada is so exalted, so great. When he saw that King Prachini Barhishat was so infatuated by his pseudo-religious endeavors, and he's a king, a descendant of Prithu Maharaj and Dhruva Maharaj. How to reach him? He told a story about someone else, Puranjan. And it was such a fascinating story. The king was listening really attentively. Perhaps if Narada Muni was just saying, "You are in Maya," the king I'm sure he would have been very respectful, but he may not have heard what he was saying. So he was talking about somebody else being in Maya and the whole process of how he got entangled. And at the end of the story, after the king received all this knowledge, he was transformed. He said, "Narada Muniji, you're talking about me." And Narada Muni said, "Yes." And he became a great devotee. So how he's preaching. Merciful to all. Vyasadeva is his disciple. And Vyasadeva wrote all these Vedic literatures. The Itihastas, the four Vedas, the Upanishads, the Brahma Sutra, the Upanishads, and everything, the Samhitas. But still, he wasn't satisfied. And in the Himalayas, on bank of Saraswati, Lord Narada Muni came to him. Imagine Narada Muni, the hunter Magrari who's half killing animals because he loves to see others suffering by his power. It's really a perverted ego. And Vyasadeva was the incarnation, the literary incarnation of Krishna. He's giving everyone this same knowledge of bhakti according to their level. He said, "You're not happy because you're not giving people unmotivated, uninterrupted, loving devotional service to Krishna. You're not revealing his supreme pastimes in Vrindavan to the world." So this Narada Muni comes as Srivas Thakur in Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela. And with his brothers and their families, they're having kirtan day and night practically, crying and praying for Krishna to come to liberate the conditioned souls of this world. And Mother Earth, she's crying for us. And through her tears, and the tears of so many great devatas, Krishna came to this earth to reveal his pastimes out of his mercy. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Navadvip was enjoying Krishna's Leela with his most intimate, loving devotees. Nityananda Prabhu is Balaram. And so many others. They're having kirtan day and night. They're having Hari Kathas, Can you imagine the Sadhu Sanga at Srivasangam? They actually wouldn't even allow people, if you had a tinge of any material ego, you were not allowed in those kirtans. But then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took that same opportunity and was giving it to everyone. And where he saw people were not receiving it, he wanted to reach them. Those people who were criticizing him, who were condemning him, who were trying to undermine him. He wanted to reach them too. What to speak of all the people in all the lands that weren't there in Navadvip. And Srila Prabhupada explains with so much emotion how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas. He left the most beautiful home with Sachimata and Vishnu Priya and all of his devotees in Navadvip Vrindavan to shave his head, to live a life of the deepest renunciation, just to give the fallen souls Krishna consciousness. The 6 Goswamis, Dhira, they were well-wishing with affection to both the gentle and the ruffians. Now, ruffian means not just like a rough devotee. You know, ruffian in this context means people like Jagai and Madhai. They were equal to everyone. Nityananda Prabhu, who introduced Rupa and Sanatan to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu along with Haridas Thakur, that was their life. Mahaprabhu gave them the instruction, go to everyone and give them the holy name of Krishna. Give them the path of bhakti. Go to every bathing ghat and every house and every shop and everyone you see. Give them this message. Krishna is your mother, Krishna is your father, Krishna is your wealth, Krishna is your life and soul. Chant the holy names of Krishna. And when they saw Jagai and Madhai, Nityananda Prabhu was thinking, what a good opportunity this is. So this is our parampara. Why? Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made it very clear, this is the best way to please me. Srila Prabhupada's living in Vrindavan, but yet he understood with the profoundest realization, the best way to please Radha and Krishna is to carry out the instruction of my Guru Maharaj, to take the holy name of Krishna and the message of Krishna throughout the world. Can you imagine all those days in Jaladuta, living in YMCA hotel, living, as Prabhupada said, like a vagabond, homeless in New York City in the winter? He didn't even know us. Directly, at least, externally. But this is love of God. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, in that beautiful prayer where he's glorifying Lord Nityananda's mercy, he describes these prominent qualities that Lord Chaitanya wanted his devotees to imbibe. namaruchi, to develop a real taste for the chanting of the holy names of Shri Shri Radha and Govinda. Vaishnav Seva, to serve, to please the devotees. And Jivadoya, to be an instrument of Krishna and our Guru's compassion to all living entities. Now, we may not feel it, but we could do it. Vaisheshika Prabhu, he is inspiring the Bhadra Purnima pastime, wherein we're distributing entire sets of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And Srila Prabhupada so much emphasized this book distribution. So my humble request to everyone assembled here and devotees assembled wherever you may be in the universe, please let us take this very seriously. It's an opportunity. So when the devotees came back to Vrindavan with Srila Prabhupada, to his very home, where he was praying every day at the Samadhi of Rupa Goswami to empower him to reach all living beings in this world with this message of compassion. What a historical event. For the first time, there are devotees from various continents who are coming to Vrindavan, to his own eternal home, at the feet of Sri Rupa Goswami, to hear the nectar of devotion. And he gave these classes for 1 month. And the particular class I'm requesting you to hear, it is Nectar of Devotion, class number 13. So many incredibly all-encompassing, deep rasic instructions. He reads from Nectar of Devotion, and then he gives Prajumana Prabhu, and then Srila Prabhupada gives comment. And in one place he's describing how Srimati Radharani is Krishna's internal energy. And by approaching bhakti through being the servant of Sri Radha, that is the path that Lord Chaitanya has taught. And then he describes that the sign of a devotee, please listen carefully, the sign of a devotee is that devotee always appreciates the activities of other devotees. We want to be recognized as a devotee, but from Srila Prabhupada and Krishna's eyes, the sign of a devotee is to always appreciate the activities of other devotees. And then Srila Prabhupada says, the symptom of advancement in Krishna consciousness is we have no inclination to find faults in devotees. And then he describes how a devotee sees everyone else as more advanced than him or herself. Because he's seeing in terms of the supreme beauty and glory and greatness of Krishna. When Krishna is not in the center, we put our own egoistic identity in the center, And then we have so many comparisons. Well, we're trying to infatuate the false ego. But what pleases Krishna? That's all important. What does it mean to put Krishna in the center? And it appears that time is over, but I'd like to conclude in remembrance of His Holiness Srila Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. How he imbibed this spirit of Srila Prabhupada. He was a personal eyewitness of how Srila Prabhupada took the order of his Guru Maharaj's life and soul. And it was Srila Gopal Krishna Goswami's life and soul. Distributed tens and millions of books. He inspired tens and millions of plates of prasad. Built dozens of magnificent temples. We had the presence of such a completely surrendered soul who emulated Srila Prabhupada's pure spirit of compassion. And even when his health was so difficult, even when there was so many obstructions, obstacles, and challenges, both within and without, in his life, he never hesitated or paused to carry forward what Srila Prabhupada desired, whether he was appreciated or not, understood or misunderstood. Yasya prasada bhagavat prasada. His life and soul is to please Srila Prabhupada. And we see this with many of those devotees, both in the generation of the disciples of Prabhupada and the next generations, who are truly emulating and imbibing this spirit of following in the footsteps of the great souls. During our Sadhu Sanga Retreat, let us very gratefully remember Srila Gopal Krishna Goswami for the great gifts of his life example of pure devotion. And he was also one of the very prime persons to help build the Temple of Vedic Planetarium. There's a booth outside for that. Bhadra Purnima, TOVP. So many opportunities we have. So during Sadhu Sangha, let us learn to respect, honor, and love one another by putting Krishna's holy names in the center of our relationship. And Krishna's devotional service is our heart and soul. And by doing so, Srila Prabhupada will be pleased, our gurus will be pleased, Gaur Nitai will be pleased, Shri Shri Radha Gopinath will be pleased. And everything else outside of pleasing Krishna is just entanglement and illusion. Krishna is eternally the supreme, all-beautiful personality of Godhead. everyone is looking for that beauty, sweetness of love. Let us share with one another during Sadhu Sangha and be inspired to share with the world. I thank you very much.